Watch what's approaching, the supreme moment. Reality striking closer than it seems, don't it? Go ahead, it's for the taking if you want it. If not, the dream dies and you'll be forever haunted. Then confront it.
Hey, what's good? So I've done this before where we did test out the stacking effect or Kaioken mechanic with Dyspo, but because the EZA just got released, I think it's a good time to reevaluate the testing environment, so to speak, and see how much the attack stats can actually rack up, because not only did this guy get the EZA, but the amazing support Topo unit, God of Destruction motherfucker, actually got that EZA too. So, you know, lighting these two guys up is going to make things quite interesting. And Topo, I will say Topo's amazing EZA. I'm highly satisfied with what they did with the skill sets upgrade. But I also did bring in the LR Tech Jiren as well because of the leader skill for the Universe 11 as well as the Universe Survival Saga. I think for USS only provides 150%, but it doesn't really matter in this case because we're simply testing out the attack stat increases over the course of time. So, you know, for those that are familiar, you guys know how the format is, but for anybody new just checking out the channel here, the way we set this up is basically start off with the base attack stats. So as you can see, this is pretty much the very beginning of the stages, and then progressively over the course of the 99 turn limit, you're going to see the increases with every rotation, because if we refer back to the stats themselves for the Dyspo unit, even with the EZA, attack will increase by 20% and chance of evading enemies attack, including super attack, plus 20% up to 60% at the start of each turn. So again, the evasion level is not really the focal point here, but the attack increase of 20% does apply with every turn that he shows up on. So every start of the turn for this guy, it pretty much will increase attack by 20%. So that's why you do see the ability for the super attack stats to progressively increase over time. And again, the super attack ability itself also does provide supreme damage, along with the ability to raise attack and defense by 50% for 6 turns. So I think in the potential level setup for this guy, I went with a level 11 additional attack and level 15 criticals. In Topo's case, I did go with the 15-11 distribution because Topo does provide a 30% boost to attack stats or allies attack based on every super attack. So of course I do want to put him in the first slot position. I guess it's a little bit weird because Dyspo with the EZA does get an additional attack increase of 20% within the same turn after evading an attack. So ideally you would want to put him in the first slot, but you actually do get a better percentage return by allowing Topo to super attack first, and potentially, you know, with a double super attack, this guy could provide a massive boost toward Dyspo. So that's pretty much the format here. In terms of the rotational setups themselves, I did include the Dokkan Awakened Super Saiyan 2 Kale unit as a floater support, but the link-wise, it's actually almost better to, even though Kale provides that 30% attack increase to allies, Jiren and whoever, they actually do link up a little bit better. So in with all things that matter, I mean, it's almost better to have this rotation set up than the other with Kale, but it's kind of nice having Jiren on here as well because you are able to see this guy perform, you know, up to a pretty decent level. And I will say this, I made the mistake of bringing Jiren in terms of the ability to stun. So like you guys know, he does have built-in skill sets to stun the enemy. So in that regard, it kind of makes things difficult because you've got units that stack up attack, but also the ability to stun the enemy. That essentially becomes a problem because that delays the amount of frequencies that Zamasu actually recovers HP. So you can actually see the HP bar deplete quite a bit otherwise, you know, from being stunned. So that ended up ultimately being a little bit of a problem for me, but it's okay because we went through quite a bit of turns. And again, like, I kept tabs on how many turns, so this is most likely, like, I actually recorded each clip in increments of like 10 to 11 turns. So basically start off, you know, the first couple, like I'd say first 3 clips of this was the first 3 rotations, and then jump to like turn number 11 and then turn number 22 and then so on, just increments of 10 to 11. So considering we're at the midpoint here, this is probably somewhere in the region of turn number 40. Yeah, I would say around 40. And then again, it's a midpoint, so at that point you still have well over, if we're at turn 40, you have close to 59 turns still remaining to stack up that attack. So basically this is nothing compared to where he could be. So at this point, I think it's like 1 million attack stats before the super attack activates, but it's going to increase even more greatly as the more turns pass. Now Topo himself is again, I keep reiterating how good of an EZA it is, but I think for those, a lot of you guys you guys probably relate to this, but as phenomenal as a support unit this guy already was, because of, the 30% I think it was to attack and defense, along with reducing enemies attack or defense by 50%. Before the EZA, the guy was certainly a liability defensively, you know what I mean? Because not only was he not necessarily a hard hitter, but he wasn't providing any sort of boost to defense himself, so that actually did hurt him quite a bit. Like even if you run something like Infinite Dragon Ball History or whatever, it does become a little bit of an issue, right? Because again, the defensive liability, you don't really see any sort of attack or defense boost himself. After the EZA, he does get that attack and defense increase to 70%, along with the supporting function. And I think what makes it really good about this guy is once the HP levels are 70% or less, he ends up reducing damage received by 40%, and that will make a phenomenal difference. This guy's been tested on Super Battle Road and what have you, and the percentage increase toward attack and defense, along with the damage reduction applied of 40%, makes such a phenomenal difference. It's really, really good. So if you have the unit and you're able to go through 30 stages of the EZA, it's almost like an absolute must because of how good the unit actually is now. So, of course, the best setup for this guy is Universe Survival Saga or, Universe 11 or whatever the case is. But, Topo actually does fall into a decent amount of categories. Along with Universe Survival Saga, he falls into Realm of Gods. Very, very great candidate for that category setup. Last Resort's another one. I guess it's called Final Trump Card now, but Special Pose is a little bit of a weird category, but it's still pretty good. Universe 11 obviously is very good with the solid units on there. But Dyspo himself, it's a little bit limited on the category selection. Universe Survival Saga is obviously the best one for him because of links like Tournament of Power. That is +3 key boost, and that does help out substantially in terms of making sure everyone gets that 12 key super attack, or even the 18 key super if you have an LR unit. But Special Poses is again one of those weird ones. It's kind of like not the greatest set of categories to run, especially for a unit like Dyspo. So, with that being said, the ideal setup obviously is Universe Survival Saga or Universe 11. You can run a combination of both. A lot of different category leads for USS with different flavors of additional categories like Universe 6 or Universe 7, and so on. So it's a good mix of units available with that setup and multiple leads with different types of category dual leads. So I would certainly say that's probably the best setup for this guy. And here's the problem I did forget to mention is the fact that Topo does link up better with Jiren. So they do need to be linked up, but this is basically to highlight Dyspo, so obviously that's why the rotations are set up the way they were. In an ideal situation where it wasn't simply down to stacking his attack, obviously he would be in the first slot where potentially Topo and Jiren would be linked up together, and then Jiren would get the full maximum boost to make sure this crazy attack stats is active. The LR Jiren is quite good. He's very phenomenal. He's essentially built specifically for Super Battle Road. Like it really makes SPR a joke with this guy on there. So he's very solid. But again, it's a legendary banner summon. So it's it's very difficult to attain the unit. But back to Dyspo, you did see the 17 million attack stats at this point. I think it was about 8 million attack stats before the super attack activated. So this guy is pretty ridiculous at this point. And Jiren is roughly anywhere from like 5 million to 6 million attack stats. So that's pretty much the setup with this guy. Yeah, the super attack animation is pretty nice with this guy too. I love the KO screen or whatever. Alright, so this is where a tragic mistake happened. I was not planning on using this rotation as a recording, but I underestimated my guys and I overestimated Zamasu because, as you can see, the HP is pretty much done here. So I was like, I had so many items that I had left over that I wanted to use for the last rotation, but unfortunately both Topo and Dyspo were putting in some work, so yeah, it didn't work out pretty well. So that's pretty much this was turn number 77, so there were still 22 turns left that you could have stacked the attack for this guy. So yeah, it was a little bit difficult. I guess it's not technically 22 because you have to divide that by 2, so roughly about 10 extra turns left over to stack that attack by 20% per each. And yeah, it would have been nice. So because of that, the Dokkan mode has to be used. So I decided we'll just go ahead and give it to Jiren here and see what kind of attack stats he can produce, as well as the damage output itself. Again, you see all the items that I had reserved available for Dyspo's final attacking rotation, but of course that didn't work out. Along with having the Dokkan mode, so it's whatever. Things like this happen, but I guess it's a good way to close it out because Jiren is a new LR that just came out, and a lot of people probably want to see how he does. And again, this is a Dokkan mode attack with some boosted items with type advantage against Rose, and it's quite fun. That's all I can say about the unit. So again, hopefully you enjoyed the stack effect or Kaioken mechanic test with the EZA Dyspo unit. As always, thanks for watching, and I will catch you guys later.